Hey YouTube, Roy Marko with Roy Marko's Garage, coming to you from my basement because it's kind of cold outside, talking about gauge bezels and the repairs that I have to do. If you notice, what I have in my hand is a 1968 to 72 gauge bezel, which has 7 gauge holes in it, which is like what's in my truck, and this is a 67 3 bezel. I'm using this for parts to fix this bezel. There's some differences. Half tons, if you notice, have this cutout here above the column where there's like a rubber grommet that fits in there. On the C40s to C70s, it's filled in with plastic, so I have to start with one of these to make my truck correct. The one in my truck is 67, so it has the gray, not the silver chrome, and well, it's all cracked and broken, so we're going to repair this one because I happen to have this one, and maybe one day I'll find a 67 one, but I'm going to show you how you can fix stuff like this. At least I'm going to try. And I have to take some pieces that are broken on the back here. If you notice, right here, I have a pin that's missing. I'm actually going to cut those out of here and repair this. Get all that done. I'm going to take all the chrome off this. I'm also going to change the labels here, get them all switched around, and we're going to get to that, and I'll show you how that's done. Got to clean this stuff, but what I want to do is cut out one of these pins here to fix this. So I'm just going to go on this one here that we don't need, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut this pin right out of here. Remember, now is a good time to hit that like button and also subscribe if you haven't done so already. Now, I'm not worried about damaging this. There's a lot of these out there, even though they're 1 year only, so I'm going to use this for parts. So what I want to do now is graft this into here, and I'm going to file this flat. Plastic's getting soft. I'm actually brushing the plastic around, creating like its own gluey paste, and it will weld those pieces together. It'll be as strong as it was when this was made, but it only works with certain plastics that allow this. Like, obviously this brush is made out of plastic, but it doesn't affect this brush. So I'll let that harden, and I have to repair. This one here has a crack. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to soak down the cracks, and I'm going to use a little clamp and pinch them down and let all that harden up, and then start doing the cleaning. And I'm going to cut I'm going to work on cutting all of these symbols out so I can re-glue them on to this panel the same way. So what I'm doing is I'm just soaking this crack, and then what I'm going to do is I'll get a pincher this over here, and I'll just stick that on there, and that will glue that back together. And what I'll do is I'll run a drill bit down the middle of these just so that they're the right size, so the screws will catch but not put a lot of stress on the plastic. Okay, so as you can see, I got it clamped here on the places that need some attention. Now what I got to do is drill a hole on the 67 only. They have the wipers and the lights and a manual choke. 68 to 72. They moved the lights over here instead of, because they didn't have the manual choke, so they put the wiper switch on the other side. So what I need to do is drill the hole for the which now will be my lights, and this is also labeled wrong. On the back side here, it has the place to start the drill, so I can make this hole exactly where I need it without having to do any measuring, so that'll turn out easy. Cut these out of this bezel, sand them flat, cut these ones off, sand them down, get them flat to the thing, and then put on the right labels in the right places so it looks correct. The only thing I'm not going to worry about correcting on this, 68 to 72, you see this little lip here, there's a little ring that sticks up on the gauges. 67 only, it's flat. I'm not going to make that correction, so it'll just have the rings. Anybody who knows these trucks will know that. Other than that, everything else will be painted the gray and the black just like it should. Since I don't really care about this plastic, I'm going to wreck it anyway by getting the parts I need. So I'm just going to, the little blade I had isn't good enough, so I'm just going to go ahead and just saw this out of here and then trim it down. So we just want to cut a little bigger at first, because the point saw that I use a lot of times when I'm cutting models and stuff and making parts. This is the saw I'll use in the miter box. Also, I got this coping saw here you can use, and it might cut a little faster. But with the coping saw, you can actually make the corner so you can sort of, it's a thin blade, so if you want to start cutting a different direction.
Where'd you buy that coping saw from?
You know, a lot of these specialized tools I inherited. Either I bought them in a collection that I bought, and I just ended up with them. I actually did not purchase this saw new, I can tell you that. I just ended up getting it. But it's a good quality tool. This saw I did buy from my local hobby shop, and this is the only one I've had to buy. It's worked good for years and years. If you treat your tools good, I only cut plastic with it. I'm never going to dull this blade. If you start cutting brass and other materials, this might start to get dull on you, but I just use it for plastic.
Maybe you should tell everybody that they can buy it on at Amazon.
Yeah, there'll be a link to all the tools I use below in my description, so you look for that. Now is a good time to talk about my t-shirt. Pick one up on Teespring. There's a link in the description below for that. Get it in 4 different colors. You get hoodie, coffee mug, stickers too. Speaking of stickers,
what's your favorite color of shirt?
well, my favorite color for myself has been black a lot of times, because when I do work, any other color I wear gets destroyed. Although I really like the gray on this. With the black, you kind of lose the color definition on the artwork, so I went with gray. That's the color I recommend. But it is available black, white, and an olive green if you like. So you can see I cut out the word there, choke, and what I'm hoping to do is cut it all out, get rid of the backing of it so it's flat, and then I'll be able to glue it to the surface. I'll see. This might be a lot of work, so if it becomes tedious, I might just sand the other ones off the labels, and that's it. But anyway, let me get something. I got something. I also got some mail. I want to thank Stuff with Cletus and his YouTube channel. You can check him out. I've mentioned him before, but he sent me something in the mail here, so I'm just going to open it up and see what it is. I think it's a sticker, from what I understand. Ooh, this. Alright, so he reached 500 subscribers and he did a giveaway, so thank you. And check out his channel if you get a chance. And I got some stickers. I got more than one. No, I got several stickers. Alright, so I got different Stuff with Cletus stickers, so I want to say thank you for sending that, and I'll have to return that favor. So I'm going to put one of these on my toolbox. and one of these, my buddy's laptop here. So put it right there. I gotta get my stickers off to add one to this. All right. Thank you, Cletus. I got the clamps off. What I'm going to try and do, there's a product I use that takes chrome off of model car parts. So if I wanted to take the finish off this bumper, I can put super clean on it, and it usually takes it off. So, or easy off is a very powerful one. It doesn't take that long, but I don't have any easy off. So let's try dechroming this for the next step. So I'm going to try, usually you submerge it in super clean, but I'm going to try just getting it on there and see if it'll take that chrome finish off, or most of it. It doesn't have to take all of it off. In any case, it'll clean the panel. Basically, it's a degreaser. Not supposed to get on your hands. It has that. I'm gonna have bones left. I'll rinse my hands off here. Okay, so I'll let that sit. Come back to it, and maybe coat it again to see how if it's coming off quite well. Don't do this at home, otherwise your hand will look like that. Where we're at now is we have to rinse off the product here. Use a toothbrush. Try to clean off as much of the chrome as possible. Now, if you see, there's a lot of, I don't know if you can see, there's a lot of scratching and stuff going on in here. This is 220 wet dry sandpaper. I'm going to start with sanding all these surfaces down. I was just sanding out some damage that was in one of these circles. I don't know why there was some damage there. So you can see I got it, it's not fully dry, there's still some wet spots, but anyway, as you can see, I got the chrome off. With a little bit of wet sanding, I can see where I have to do a little bit of filler work. And the back side, this repair turned out pretty good. Okay. Nice and strong. This old one here, I went ahead and I cut this piece out here. And by cutting this piece out, I was hoping to cut the word off and put it where it's supposed to go. The problem is that it's a much narrower piece, and so this idea that I had is not going to work and not worth the effort. So what I'm going to do is just grind these letters off so they're smooth on both sides, and I'm not worried about labeling it. So just paint it, look good, and it's not cracked and broken. I also went ahead and took some paint and I sprayed over top of the old color. I didn't care about taping it off, I just wanted to see. And I wanted to see how close that color was to the old color. And I think that's going to be a good enough match to paint this unit here. So this thing is now done. I don't need any pieces off this anymore, and we can just keep working on this. So I'm going to do some more work, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just grind these letters off here. So let me do that, and then I'll come back to it. So I took the Dremel and I ground off the word there. I'm just taking a sanding stick here and just smoothing that out. Working the plastic. Okay, I got both of these smoothed out. Now, I want to drill the hole here that I need. The first thing I do, I'm going to hand drill a pilot hole. Right in the middle there, where the casting mark is. And I got this body reamer that you use for RC cars, and it works really good for reaming up plastic. So I'm just going to work this. I'm going to go both sides. And I'm just going to keep going until I get that all the way to the biggest part, and then I'll use the Dremel to get a little bigger. Okay, that's as big as I can go with that tool. I'll have to work it out. I also have some damage over here that I want to do some repairs on. I'm going to use some super glue and stuff like that, fill that in and retexture it. So yeah, I've used some super glue, fill that in, I'll let that dry. And as it gets tacky, I'm going to make some texture with it. Hopefully it'll blend in. Just make it so it's not so obvious. There is a collar that's about that big that covers these holes that go over top. So. Okay, as you can see, I've sanded out some of the imperfections on here, and that fill in, I sanded that out a little bit. I'll show you how we get a texture back on that. At least I think I'm going to do it. So also filling in little spots with super glue that were sinkholes, and just kind of going to sand those flat again. I'm going to go ahead and wet sand this and work on it. Looks wet sanding with plastic is nice. It keeps the plastic cool, keeps the sandpaper clean. You get a better job. So I'm going to go ahead and wet sand this. I know this seems kind of counterintuitive. Use your finger. The moisture from your finger will dry the super glue. And if you keep dabbing it, you can probably get that texture going. All you're going to have to do is peel it off your finger after. But I don't know of any other product that would duplicate. Sometimes you just have to use your finger. I wet sanded it, and what I did was I put it back in the sink here to take some chrome off. That super clean really took it off quick. There was some chrome, the paint was coming off. This piece is chromed first and the black paint is put on. So the black paint was coming off when I was cleaning it under hot water. So I'm trying to do is get the paint to lift, and then as well as the chrome underneath to lift, so that I'm down to basic plastic. Okay, it's about half an hour in, and you can see that the paint is coming off, and that chrome is coming through, and then the chrome is just coming off just as quick. If you notice, I take my finger, I rub it, that chrome is coming right off. So I'll just toothbrush this and get it down to the bare plastic. What a transformation after cleaning up all of that chrome that's on there. There's still a little bit of remnants of it, but it's not a big deal. Getting this all wet sanded nice and smooth compared to the way it was before. You can just feel it, it's nice all the way around. And each gauge hole slightly scuffed. So this is all ready for paint now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start by putting down the silver. I was contemplating, should I paint black, tape off the black, or do the silver, tape off the silver, and then paint the black. So either have to tape off each one of these holes and the edge, or tape off the black. I think since this is smooth, the tape's going to stick better, so I'm going to paint the silver first and then paint the black. So let me get some silver on this. So the silver I'm using is this cast aluminum color by Dynamic, just in case you're wondering what I'm using for the paint, and I'm going to go apply that. Alright, so there you have it. Just the paint, silver paint around all the edges and around all the gauges. Let that dry, I'll tape it off and we'll do the black and we'll be done. Alright, so I let this dry for a couple of hours and I taped it off. What I'm doing is going around with the blade and cutting the tape. I'm not very good at this sometimes. This is a time-consuming process that, you know, for just a 2-second spray paint job, it's a lot of work to get it prepped. But that's like anything, prepping. 90% of your work is preparation, and then it's 10% of your work is the actual work itself when you're doing this kind of stuff. I almost could have went that way around the outside edge too, but I decided to use this thin flexible tape for doing pinstriping. We'll see how that turns out. You think you could just like tape off this edge and paint this, but it's very important that you put tape on the back side here, because I've had overspray come through here and then onto where you don't want it. So either tape these holes off or tape off this entire back unit. But all it takes to tape off these holes is you just go from behind and just go like that. And it's taped off. Real simple. Oh yeah, and just in case you're wondering, I'm using SEM black. That's the part number, satin black, okay? So you know, that's what I'm using. Don't forget to get a shirt. Okay, so as you can see, that's coat number 1. It's just a light coat. You still can see some of the silver. Okay, there we have it, coat number 2. And basically just, we can start peeling some tape off as long as I don't get it on there. I'm just gonna let it sit for a few minutes and we'll peel it off. Alright, so even I make mistakes. You can see I peel it off here, and that tape wasn't quite down all the way and it bled through, and I got some overspray in a couple of spots. But I'm not worried, I'm going to fix that. So before I peel off anything else, I'm going to fix those issues and get it done, and then we'll peel it. So just got to let the black dry a little bit so I can put a little bit of tape there and then just give it a shot of that silver. The gauge cluster is now done, painted. Here we go. There it is. So it was all terrible before, it was all cracked and things like that, and all the mounts and supports, fixed that. And now we drilled the extra hole for the high, actually had this one, but we drilled the extra hole because 67. We don't have words on it. That didn't quite work out the way I originally thought. I got it painted, the silver and the black, and it'll look a lot better than one of my trucks. So let's go out there and take a look at that one and compare. So one thing I am going to pick up is a brand new lens for the gauges. So I won't be installing this today. I'm going to go down to Scott Super Trucks, pick up a new lens, and then we'll do another video on putting it in. Alright, so here's the old gauge cluster. You can see all the paint is worn off. It's got a crack here. Somebody had cut the plastic out of here, as well as it's all cracked around where the screws are, like over here. It's all broken, things like that. So this gauge cluster now, or bezel I should say, will go in here and it will dress that up quite nicely. Alright, so there you have it. Gauge bezel fixed. Now I just have to go pick up the new lens and get the gauge together, put it in for you guys. If you like this video, please subscribe, hit that like button, ring that bell for notifications, and have a great day. Get yourself a t-shirt. I recommend it. And support the channel. Thank you.